Live from First Street Studios in South Tampa, Florida. It's time for another round of Last Call.
All right, Dan, we're talking a lot of UFC. Wouldn't be a UFC video without talking about best pound for pound of all time. Who do you got?
Pound for pound, or are we using the word GOAT? Let's go pound for pound.
Let's go pound for pound, because I think pound for pound GOAT, all encompassing.
All right, all encompassing?
Yeah. Not most influential, best.
Okay, money for the sport or actual?
One that actually is the most dominant.
John Jones. Matt Hamill only lost DQ. Wasn't even a loss. A legal strike. Call it a loss. Call it what you will.
Like me some John Jones, that's tough to argue against, but I got to go with Anderson the Spider Silva, man. He brought this sport to the, and we're not talking influential, but he was going in there and destroying people. Not that Jones didn't, but Anderson was going in there and knocking people out. Guys that did get knocked out, didn't get submitted, like Dan Henderson.
Okay.
He was going there and taking them out.
I see that. Okay, so all around striker?
Just in general, it can be strike, it's submission. I mean, the MMA is such a complex thing to where,
It is. I think Anderson Silva came at the right time.
Okay.
Where he was dominant.
Yeah.
I think Chuck Liddell.
Mm-hmm.
I think we say George St. Pierre. I think the list kind of ends there.
Matt Hughes. Plus, Hughes did open the door for St. Pierre.
I agree. I would say he's tier 2, right? But no doubt, top tenner.
Yeah.
Then we look at Amanda Nunes. We look at Ronda Rousey for her 11 wins. But yeah, it's got to be John Jones. Me being a Great Jackson guy with Colton. I mean, now this is what I will say though. I think John Jones had some near misses. Gustafsson fight. Right?
Yep, he's had a couple. The Gustafsson fight,
Gustafsson, not Gustafsson.
No, Gustafsson, yeah, big Gus.
You know what I'm talking about. That was a close one. So, and then
OSP didn't look too dominant against either, but
it was help me out, the other one that was pretty close. But either way, yeah. Anderson Silva, when he was on, unstoppable. So I would argue that that's a good debate.
Absolutely.
I think St. Pierre from somebody else would say it's a great debate. But George St. Pierre was a great wrestler and a great left jabber.
Right.
Other than that, that was about all he brought to the game. If you're a striker, Anderson Silva for sure, but overall dominant in the size category too.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to look at a guy in a 205 versus the 170 or 185, right? Yeah. But I would say Anderson striking was next level.
Absolutely.
But John Jones, in my opinion. But you're going Anderson Silva. But would you have any caveat to it?
There's a caveat. There's two caveats. For Silva, you can't, I hate to do this because I know it's a prisoner of the moment sport. The end, man. The end of his career, after he lost that belt to Weidman and he had that unfortunate leg injury, was not the same Anderson we knew. And I know there's a victim of hanging on for too damn long. And I think Anderson was one that, he was not the same after he lost the belt.
No, Tito hung on too long.
Oh, so did BJ Penn, so did the ball. But the caveat about Jones, the best thing I can say about him is so many lapses in fight time.
Well, so we got to leave his behavior out of it.
I mean, we're not talking like Boy Scouts of America leader.
Right.
Right. I mean, he could go in years without fighting because he couldn't keep his stuff out of the stew.
Right.
When I think the best pound for pound, somebody was in there we saw Silva go up and weight and knock Forrest Griffin halfway to Georgia.
I think, so I'll tell you this, if I can, and we'll close. I think Anderson Silva at his prime, we'll never see that again. Right. I mean, we saw glimpses of that in Adesanya.
Yep.
However, if we took all the bad stuff out of the closet, cleaned out the closet, like Eminem would say, John Jones, I think, is the superior fighter all around.
Jones didn't have that downswing. He's never lost.
No, that's what I mean. So Anderson went out on his own. But for the guy who moved MMA to the next level, we got to kind of put it in this category, right? We got to mention Stephan. Unfortunately, he's gone. Then we got to mention Forrest.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then before that, we got to mention Chuck and Tito. Shamrock.
Ken, yep.
Yeah. And then, what's his name? Help me out.
Vitor Belfort?
No.
Dan Severn.
Gracie, Dan Severn, and all that. But now, moving into the modern era, Conor McGregor, like we were talking about earlier, whether you like him or not, and whether this last couple of years have been a little shaky at best, he's the one in the MMA that Ronda's here Anderson's here. Chuck Liddell's here. Conor McGregor took that sport to here. Would you agree?
Agreed 100%.
So will we ever look at Conor McGregor as the GOAT? Some will, especially from Ireland, or some fanatics that like him, like me, will put him in the conversation because he was the first one to get 2 belts, right?
Most influential, too.
Yes, and made the most money and he was a team, he was a company man. So I don't like his behavior right now. I don't condone any of it. I wish he could just act right for once. But for somebody that had that big of a muscle movement in that sport and has a whole country behind him, even after his antics now, you got to admit, he's got to be in the conversation because he was a 2-belt champion first.
Well, Dano,
All right, that's
what do you think, though? What are the people?
Yeah. Hey, please, when you watch this, give us comments. Let us know. We'll answer to the best of our ability. And there's no right or wrong answer. This is just a sports show. We try to give you the best, no fake news from guys that have had shows before, have played sports at the professional level or commentated at the professional level. And we would just like to have this show because we think it's good to share that knowledge with people.
And by the way, before we close, see that little comment up there? See that little window up there? We're going to talk about another paradox of somebody who moved the needle a little bit. We'll talk about that fighter who may be very influential in her own right. I think you know who we're talking about. Stick around.